Do you remember Felix the Cat? I usually don't. He's a cartoon character that was created all the way back in 1919 during the silent era of cinema, and he was incredibly popular back in the day, to the point of becoming a mascot for many things, like Felix Chevrolet and US Navy Bombing Squadron. Wow. His popularity diminished over time, and I don't think he was in anything as of late. The latest news I've seen is that the rights were sold to DreamWorks in 2014, and that's about it. Anyway, the thing that's relevant to this video is the 1959 animated series that introduced new characters and Felix's magic bag. In 1992, Hudson Soft released an NES game developed by Shimada Kikaku based on the aforementioned animated series. The story is simple. Felix has this magic bag that can do things. This professor fellow wants the bag for himself, so he kidnapped Felix's Kitty of Heart, and now Felix has to go rescue her while dealing with different villains along the way. That's the whole premise, short and simple. In terms of gameplay, this game is a 2D side-scrolling platformer, as was typical for the time. Felix has his magic bag, which allows you to attack your enemies with a boxing glove. Felix doesn't have a life gauge and dies in one hit. How in the world does he die after being gently touched by a hamster is beyond my comprehension. Along the way, you will be collecting these coins that give you points. After you collect 100 of these, you get an extra life. But wait, that's not the only thing they do. Some coins actually drop power-ups upon being collected. Case in point, this heart icon will give you an upgrade. First, you get a magic hat and a stick, which allows Felix to cast some sort of magic spell that kills any enemy it touches. Actually, I think they die because of the cat's annoying laughter. Collect another heart and your bag turns into a car, then collect another one to turn it into a tank. Aside from giving Felix different means of attacking, these upgrades also allow him to not die after getting hit. If you get hit while holding an upgrade, you revert to the previous level, for example, tank turns back into a car and so on. If you look at the screen with any amount of attention, you will notice these hearts. Any sane person would think that this is a life gauge, but I already tanked any hopes of it being one. No, this is a timer, which ticks down gradually while you are in the upgraded form. When the gauge empties, you revert to the previous form. To avoid this, you collect milk bottles that restore 2 hearts each. They also give you points. This is pretty much how the game is played. Controls are great for the most part. Jumping feels a little slippery, but it never caused any issues for me. Okay, so that's the general gist of the gameplay. Now let's talk about how the game looks and sounds. Starting with the sound, I think it's alright. The sound effects are all good, almost none of the sounds are annoying. Almost none of the sounds. The music is mostly variations on the TV series' main theme, and all the tracks are good. They aren't exactly a masterpiece to the degree of some Mega Man or Castlevania tracks, or that memorable, but they do their job well enough. Now, the graphics are really good. Everything looks great. I love how animated Felix himself is. It's all very pleasant to look at. They even included his classic laughter from the cartoon. I also like some of the enemies, especially the birds with hats and sunglasses. All the stages also have their own special look as well. You get classic green hills, you get an Egyptian pyramid, you have an ocean shore, mountains, outer space, South Pole which has these live fish stuck in blocks of ice serves them right. But the really important thing about the stages is that some of them diverge from the usual gameplay style. This first occurs in stage 2-1, where Felix is flying using his umbrella and other means of aerial transportation. You gain height by pressing jump repeatedly, and you lose height by not pressing anything. There are also underwater levels that function almost the same way, but you don't get as much space for maneuvering around enemies. This introduces the only major issue I have with the game. Upwards vertical scrolling is pretty bad. The screen only moves when Felix gets almost to the very edge of it. This presents issues in the flying and underwater stages, since you can get blindsided by an enemy or a projectile, all because the screen didn't move until it was too late. This issue is also present in some on foot stages, but it's not too bad there. The other issue I have with the game is this water surface style of stages. Just all of it. I hate how water bounces you up and down, making it hard to aim your attack. To end insult to injury, you only have 2 forms in these stages compared to 3 forms in flying and underwater stages and 4 in the on-foot stages. Honestly, really not a fan of this. I like dolphins, at least when I'm not playing Echo, but this ride is something I could do without. These swimming stages are the ones where I died the most. That isn't to say that the game is difficult, it really isn't. On the contrary, it's very easy. This is me on the last stage and look how many lives I have. That's because getting extra lives in this game is incredibly easy. Aside from collecting 100 coins, you can get extra lives from score milestones and also by collecting heart icons when you are at the max upgrade level, which is almost always in my experience. But wait, there's more! You will periodically see clouds shaped like faces of Kitty and Professor. Think they are there just for decoration? Nope. If you jump over Kitty's face, you get extra points. See Professor's face? Hit it a few times and an extra life will fall out. Not all faces give you a treat, but there is usually at least one of them per stage. Every stage also has special bonus rooms accessible by going into these bags. They also make it really easy to stack up on extra lives. Some of these rooms even allow you to skip parts of a stage, but why would you do that? The stages themselves are also very easy for the most part. This especially goes for the flying stages where you can sometimes just fly over and under all the enemies. Bosses are a joke too, unfortunately, at least with the upgrades. I haven't seen the game over screen until I killed myself repeatedly by walking into a hamster specifically to see what the game over screen looks like. You still have to pay attention to the game though. You die in one hit without the upgrades and lack of attention can result in losing them really fast. There is a single stage that I would consider hard, 8-1. It's technically just a flying stage, but you don't have any upgrades here, so you will always die in one hit. That's about it though. Usually, I don't particularly enjoy easy games like this, you know, I like challenge. But sometimes it's alright to sit down and play something that lets you relax. And if you have children, this is a perfect game to introduce them to. I remember playing this game as a kid and enjoying it a lot. It even was one of the first games I've completed. Once again, the issue with this game is availability. The cards on eBay are pretty bloody expensive and I don't think you can get this game anywhere because it was never re-released due to being yet another licensed title. There is also the Game Boy version, but from what I understand it's a direct conversion of the NES one, and not really worth mentioning. Well, I think we all know what other means of getting this game are, so I do recommend you get it, for your children if anything. The controls feel great, the gameplay is easy but still engaging, and let's be honest for a second, what other game allows you to blow up a hamster with a tank? Thank you for watching this video, dear viewer. If you liked what you watched, you can check out my other videos and subscribe if you want to see more. Keep on rocking and I'll see you next time.